We open with an open book, and it's Marceline and Prince Gumball in a gender bent version of the episode What Was Missing. Then we pull out and realize this is just Prismo's fanfic. As we know, Fiona Cake was made by Prismo, and he's specifically reading this fanfic to Jake. But then he closes the book and asks Jake and the Cosmic Owl, "You know what can be even more fun? Actually peering into alternate universes. Take this one for example. This one is really interesting. PB wants to research an average college experience, and Peppermint Butler doesn't like it one bit. He would much more prefer if she stayed at the castle. But at least she stays in the princess dorm, which she will share with LSP, the GOAT, the greatest of all time, the absolute best character in the whole franchise, of course, my favorite, the most cute, beautiful, seductive voice in the history of the show. Second only probably to Abraham Lincoln, aka the King of Mars himself. Anyway, so yeah, she comes in with her parents, argues with them, and she is extremely annoying, as you would expect from LSP. And the problem with LSP in the comics as opposed to the show is that in the show, LSP has the voice, which is just very funny. It's very hilarious, the way she talks, her voice coming out of a supposedly female character. Everything just makes it comedic gold in my opinion. Like, yes, too much of her makes it annoying, but in small doses I think LSP is one of the funniest characters. But in a comic book, you don't really have the benefit of the voice, so she's just kind of being annoying and you have to read through it. And that is not as fun as it would be in the show. And she's even more annoying to PB because she breaks her laptop and then PB gets out and she looks very funny and mad and uses Oogle, which I think is a great pun on Google. I didn't even think about it. Oogle. Of course it would be. And that's where she meets Marceline in this universe for the first time. Marceline is just aura farming, just singing at her guitar in the middle of the night, you know, average Marceline activities. And you know where this is going, don't you? The next day, PB meets with Finn and Jake, who she already knows, unlike with Marceline or LSP. Finn thinks they are here to keep PB safe, but Jake tells PB that secretly they're here because Jake wants Finn to enroll into college. Also, here, Finn is 18, and PB appears to be 18. They don't say that she is 18, but they say that she appears to be 18, so she might not be 18, but everyone is 18 plus in this comic, for example. And the only reason Jake wants to be here is not necessarily to keep Bonnie safe, but more so to enroll Finn into it, because even though he's 18, apparently in this universe, he can't read, which is funny. Speaking of funny, in this universe, Flame Princess is a barista who is just selling coffee to BB. And there is a gag about how they don't serve iced. She sells her burnt mocha. Get it? Because she doesn't like ice because she's made of fire. And it's burnt because she's made of fire. They were very clever with these ones, guys. Like, writing is off the charts in this book. I say that kind of like a joke, but it is cute. And then, like, right the next panel, PB and Marcy low-key kiss, Dun style, and you can hear a thud, which means that their skulls collided with each other and created a sound. And obviously now they're mad at each other because this is how those kind of plots go. They're mad at each other and then they kiss. Spoiler alert. This is a Bubbline special. Obviously they're gonna end up together by the end. At least in some capacity. So PB goes back to her dorm and just yells and screams about how rude Marceline was, and LSP is there being like, "You're right, girl, that's so unfortunate. Anyway, you know what will make you feel better? A giant party. You know what would make you feel better? A giant party." And obviously PB is not happy at first, but then she's like, "Screw it, whatever. Let's just do this." And then guess what? Marceline shows up and she's friends with LSP, and that's why she's invited to the party. And PB is like, "Wait, it's you? It's you? It's you?
It's you? It's you!"
Yeah. Well, yes, kind of.
How could you,
Yeah.
man? How could you?
Anyway, they fight a little and then they play spin the bottle, and guess what? Yeah, it lands on Marcy and PB. So PB has to kiss Marcy. Who would have thought? And they both think, get it? Ew. You know, at this point in the story, they're obviously both homophobic, so they don't really like the thought of like kissing a girl. So they're like, "Oh my god, this is gonna be crazy because we're both like hate like gay people or something." That is not true. Okay, that's not what's happening. But that would have been a very funny plot. But PB specifically, she's very like not into it. She's like, "Oh my god, this will last 5 seconds and then it'll be over. I just have to suck it up for 5 seconds, right?" And then she kisses her and she starts smiling. They both start smiling when they kiss, and then they start grabbing each other's faces. And then Marcy gets her giant ass snake tongue out while they're kissing, and she puts her tongue on her cheek. And it's like, god damn, this freaky ass comic and this freaky ass Marceline. And PB has the eyes that you have in like anime and stuff, like, oh, like she's dizzy or whatever. And Marcy's like, "Yeah, I know, I'm a pretty good kisser." And PB's like, "What?" And then LSP is like, "My turn. What is this freaked out comic, bro?" And then LSP tries to kiss Finn, and it's like freaked as hell. Like, who wrote this? You guys are freaked the freak out. Regardless, PB is still thinking about Marceline, but Peppa calls her and he's like, "Princess, I heard that there's an assassin coming after you, and he's in the campus of the university, so you should probably return to the Candy Kingdom." And PB is like, "Oh, you know, Candy citizens, they always exaggerate and embellish." And then we literally, as she says that, see Peppermint Butler restraining Meow, who we know is an assassin. The implication being is that yes, this is actually not only possible, but this is literally about to happen, but Pep-But stop it from happening. So the warnings about assassins are very much with merit. So PB can't go home because she can't sleep or work during LSP's insane parties, and because Marceline just wants to pull baddies, I guess, she invites PB to just go into her room and sleep or work there if she wants to. Which, by the way, is a crazy hookup line. Like, "Oh yeah, you can come into my room and study and sleep." It's like, damn, like, if it works, I guess. Marceline just crazy in this universe. Anyway, PB's like, well, you don't have a roommate or anything? And then we cut to like a month ago where Marceline's dad essentially ordered Pepbutt to kidnap her roommate so Marceline can have a room for herself. And it's kind of left ambiguous if Marceline knows about it and she's playing ignorant, or if she genuinely didn't know and her dad just did that for her. It's also interesting that it's Marceline's dad and Peppermint Butler who's PB's butler. Like, they have a connection already without them even knowing. So when PB wakes up, well, when both of them wake up the next day, Marceline just calls it out. She's like, yeah, bro, I'm just flirting with you. And PB's like, oh, damn. And they're both kind of cute about it, and they flirt with each other, and, you know, their greed sickens me. But coming to an end to this comic, Marceline has a concert, and there's some cool, nice visuals going on while she's singing, and PB is dancing, and eventually they just kind of hook up and kiss in front of everybody. And then as we zoom out of the story, we see Prismo and Jake and Cosmic Owl talking about how, alternate realities are better than fanfics because they actually happen. Which is kind of funny because Prismo's fanfic specifically also happens due to the fact that he made it into an universe. But I guess we're not going to talk about the consequences of that.